to shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello friends, this is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, November 17th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Give me the like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. Help us out here. Get the message out of Weaponized News. Thank you everybody for joining us. What do we have today? Well, Trump says release the Epstein files after he told us it was a Democrat hoax. Which is it, Trump? We'll go over all of this, the Epstein files, fallout. We're never getting the blackmail files that Epstein had on all of these high-powered people. That's just simply not going to happen ever. But we continue to play this game back and forth. It's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. No, it's the government all tied up in this. You see, is the problem. We'll go over all the fallout of this continuing saga. We have quite a bit of it, actually. And then show you, are we not on YouTube? I guess we just don't have viewers on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, we're on YouTube. What else do we got today? We've got Department of Homeland Security, Operation Charlotte's Web to go over. We've got economic news. Trump at the McDonald's summit. Yeah, McDonald's, the restaurant summit. We'll go over that. It's always it's the last administration. It's their fault. Why you can't afford anything. The new buzzword, propaganda, affordability. It's the Democrats' fault. It's Biden's fault. Forget the fact that Trump, locked down the economy, shut off supply chains, and did what? $8 trillion plus on the national debt? It's Biden, man. Trump had nothing to do with it. That's the story they're telling us. And a big step back from NVIDIA. I've had these big funds are selling off their stake in NVIDIA, the chip maker. Peter Thiel's fund sold off entire NVIDIA stake last quarter. And so some big investment firms out there are backing off of NVIDIA as the AI bubble may be coming to a head anytime here. And then this announcement, they're rolling out brand new Department of War policies that I think everybody should be aware of. We have that announcement. The Department of War is they're saying they're going to use direct energy weapons and a whole lot more. We have that report right from the Department of War. I would say it's very concerning here now. They've consolidated, they were operating on 12-point plan. They've consolidated that now down into 6 points to focus on going forward at the Department of War. Applied artificial intelligence, biomanufacturing, contested logistics technologies, quantum and battlefield information dominance, scaled hypersonics, and scaled directed energy. We'll go over all that today. We got geopolitical news. Democracy Shield, the EU's new censorship machine, quote, Democracy Shield will police speech and suppress dissent under the pretext of defending democracy. You're like, you censored me because I was critical of this corrupt politician. They scream democracy. Democracy, we're saving you. And you're like, but I didn't vote and they're corrupt. Democracy. You know, that's the same in America here, in California especially. So we'll go over all that. Quite a little bit of geopolitical news today. What are they doing? New New arms deal there between Ukraine and France. What else? Yeah, Ukraine and Russia, they're bombing the hell out of each other, man. Not good. Attacking each other's energy infrastructure. Not good. As I don't know, we're waiting for some type of peace summit, this part due with Trump and Putin, America and Russia, as we await the potential invasion of Venezuela. As we've documented here, a lot of military assets all amassed right there off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean. What is going to happen? Trump says he's open to talking with Maduro. We'll get Maduro's latest. And again, there's no good guys, man. Trump ain't no good. Maduro ain't no good. For Joe Blow, citizen of the country like you and I, come on, man. Come on, man. There's no good guys in this geopolitical game using populations as cannon fodder. There's no good guys. Apparently, the United Nations Security Council has voted on Trump's reconstruction plan. Now they are going to struggle to be implementing it over there in Gaza. There's a ceasefire. Trump deserves the Peace Prize. They're stacking bodies, though. Over the weekend, they've been stacking bodies. Today, they're stacking bodies. In the last 24 hours, Aardvark lands killed 3 Palestinians in Gaza. That's your quote ceasefire. And over the weekend, they stacked a bunch of bodies. We'll cover all of that. Ethnic cleansing, genocide, the Greater Aardvark Land Project. Ongoing here now. Let's get to this day in history and a whole lot more. Got a lot to cover. Let me try to get to it as quickly as I can for you on this day in history, going back to the year 1278 on November 17th. They were noticing in England. 680 aardvarks are arrested in England for counterfeiting coins, and 239 are hanged. But Randy Fine said that all throughout history, aardvarks have been kicked out of everywhere, and it's never been their fault. You know what I mean? So, antiseptic behavior out of England, 1278. It wasn't the aardvark's fault, obviously. In 1558, on this day, Bloody Mary, England's most hated queen, Elizabeth I, aged 25, ascends to the English throne upon the death of her half-sister, Queen Mary I. Also, on this day, 1558, Church of England independence. The independence of the Church of England is reestablished upon ascension of Elizabeth I to the throne. Moving forward in history to 1798 on this day, beginning of a 5-day New England blizzard that covers thousands of houses and kills hundreds. They had that global warming, cooling weather problem all the way back in 1798. 1871, a pivotal year in American history for sure. On this day in 1871, the National Rifle Association is first chartered in the state of New York, NRA, for all of their faults. And they have many, they are staunch defenders of your right to self-defense. I would say overall, okay? And they do have a lot of issues at the NRA, that's for sure. Moving forward to, where are we at here? 1875 on this day, the American Theosophical Society is founded by Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott. And the occultists love it. So that happened on this day. In 1884, I found this interesting. Police arrest boxer John L. Sullivan in the second round of a match for being cruel. They literally arrested him during a boxing match where you're tasked with punching the other guy in the face, right? For being too cruel on this day, 1884. Don't be mean in your boxing matches. Right? Then we move on to 1894. The Daily Racing Form founded on this day for you, horse bettors out there. You're familiar with the Daily Racing Form, I'm sure. Also in 1894, on this day, serial killer H.H. Holmes is arrested in Boston after being tracked there from Pennsylvania by the Pinkertons. 1917, on this day, freedom of press in the Soviet Union suspended. Vladimir Lenin defends, quote, temporary removal of freedom of press. Well, they had to do what they had to do over there in that tyranny. And then we marked the end of the Ottoman Empire. On this day, 1922, the last sultan of the Ottoman Empire, Mehmed IV, is expelled to Malta on a British warship. 1938, the Italians were noticing. Italy passes its own version of anti-aardvark Nuremberg laws. On this day, 1938, 1953, the United States, even America was noticing. But what the hell? Don't be antiseptic. We all know the routine by now. In 1953, on this day, the United States joins the United Nations in condemning Aardvark Land's raid on Jordan on October 4th, 1953. What changed? I don't know. You tell me. AIPAC. You tell me. And these whacked out Christian Zionists, delusional to say the least, religious fanatics, is what changed here now from 1953. These maniacs are in high positions of power now, shaming you for noticing all the corruption. In 1959, on this day, De Beers of South Africa announces the invention of a new synthetic diamond process. This was already in 1959. And so diamonds are a semi-precious stone and a con job where De Beers and the diamond cartel are creating artificial scarcity in the supply, causing prices to increase. So be aware of that when you're looking to buy a ring for your wife, girlfriend, significant other, them, they, him, ha, transgender furry from outer space, whatever may be the love of your life. Be aware that indeed diamonds are prices fixed, and it's not as valuable as is perceived, due in large part to De Beers diamond cartel monopoly. In 1970, on this day, the computer mouse received a patent. 1970, Stanford Research Institute scientist Douglas Engelbart receives the first patent for a computer mouse. 1970, on this day. And then famously, Richard Nixon declares, "I'm not a crook." On 1973, U.S. President Richard Nixon replies to Associated Press editors that, quote, "people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook." And then Nixon's famous reply, "Well, I'm not a crook," right? They're all crooks, you see, is the joke on us. And then we fast forward to, where are we at here? Did I miss a 1990? Oh, yeah. In 1993, on this day, you could thank your, quote, representatives in the House of Representatives for approving NAFTA, a major plank in globalization and the deindustrialization of the American manufacturing economy. And so you could thank your piece of trash congressional representatives on this day for approving NAFTA and gutting America's manufacturing base. in favor of a service economy that in large part is now outsourced to the developing world. Thank you very much, Congress, for that, for your part in globalization. In 2021, on this day, record number of Americans overdose. Over 100,000 died of drug overdoses between April 2020 and April 2021, according to data out of the CDC. And so we blame Maduro, Venezuela. We blame Colombia, anybody else, them, anybody else, but as we continue to report here, Purdue Pharma, the Seckler family, all the bastard doctors that knew damn well writing these prescriptions to their patients would turn them into strung out junkies on opioids. Yeah, it's none of them. It's Venezuela and Maduro doing it all, you know. 2022, on this day, sadly, Nancy Pelosi, the first female speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives and one of the most influential in recent times, announces she will step down as Speaker of the House. I know, I'm heartbroken too about it. And then on this day in our civil liberties history, going back to the year 1961, U.S. Civil Rights Commission finds police brutality a serious problem nationwide. A report by the U.S. Civil Rights Commission, released on this day, 1961, identified police brutality as a serious problem nationwide. The commission's findings soon proved to be prophetic. Police use of excessive force, unjustified fatal shootings of African Americans, and discriminatory arrest patterns would be major causes of urban riots that erupted in the summer of 1964 and continued for 3 more summers. The Kerner Commission report on the riots, issued on February 29, 1968, confirmed the role of police misconduct as a serious problem and cause of the riots. Back the blue, bro. And on this day in 1987, Dick Cheney gives early warning, asserts presidential power in Iran-Contra report. The Iran-Contra scandal, October 5th, 1986, November 19th, 1986, involved a number of violations of law by great conservative President Ronald Reagan administration. Congress investigated and issued the Joint Congressional Committee report on the affair. The report is more important for the minority report written by representative out of Wyoming, Dick Cheney, released on this day, which was an aggressive defense of presidential power in the area of foreign affairs and the need to reverse the post-Watergate restrictions on that power. Cheney's statement was a very important preview of his actions as vice president under President George W. Bush in the war on terror. If only we would have known. Well, Dick Cheney told us he's a tyrannical maniac in this report. What the hell? You know what I mean? Keeping us safe from the terrorists that the government created. We appreciate the problem reaction solution, PSYOPs, mind control program bestowed upon the American public to wage never-ending war on terror, illegal foreign wars of aggression. In large part, a major player there, Dick Cheney, died a few weeks ago. Burn in hell, Dick Cheney. And with that, here is our segue to all the news for you. And where do we start? Well, let's start with what the hell. It's also dark that we have to laugh or we're going to cry here. Here's comedian Tim Dillon. Is MAGA dead? I don't know. Who the hell's still believing this bullshit? You got to be delusional And as we continue to report here at Weaponized News, never trust the government ever, ever, ever about anything ever. That goes for Trump, the great right-wing fraud populist that he is. Here's Tim Dillon, segue to the news.
Let's look at Trump here. And I do think, unfortunately, this kind of is the end of, and I say unfortunately, not because I care, truly, but I say unfortunately because it seems to not be doing anything good for anyone. This is the end of the Trump administration. This is the beginning of the lame duck presidency. It's obvious to everyone, even his most ardent supporters show up to the White House, like Laura Ingraham, and she's kind of shocked on what the hell's going on. Now we'll start, 3 years of talking about the ballroom. He will trail off. He will get older. He's adorned the White House in gold. Epstein's going to suck the oxygen out of a lot of this. We're going to talk about that a little later on. Apparently AI, by the way, the only thing I'm sure of about AI, I'm not an expert, is that AI, as soon as we have robots running around this country, they'll all be pedophiles too. There's no one in power that will apparently just not be a pedophile. All these robots will be pedophiles. The 100% will deal with pedophile robots. Our first robot president will be a pedophile. I know that.
So that's something to look forward to, prediction from Tim Dillon. Here's Thomas Massey. He says the record of his vote will last longer than Trump's presidency, as Trump has attacked Massey, and they're going to play this whole political game of who supports the aardvarks, who protects the child molesters, and on and on. Here's Massey, I believe yesterday on This Week ABC.
The president has gone after you in some deeply personal ways. I mean, attacking you over and over again, even attacking you for regarding your recent wedding, which, by the way, congratulations. What do you make of all that? And he's obviously supporting your primary opponents. I mean, what kind of retribution are you facing?
My wife told me, she said, "I told you so. We should have invited Donald Trump. He's mad that he didn't get an invitation." So we're taking it with a grain of salt. He's being a bully or trying to be a bully. And they're trying to beat me here in Kentucky. But here's what's interesting. The people financing this campaign consist completely of 3 billionaires, and they're all in the Epstein class. In fact, one of them is named in Epstein's phone book. Not the secret files that the FBI is keeping, but in Epstein's phone book. So it's a small world. Dogs don't bark at parked cars, and we are winning. I'm not tired of winning yet, but we are winning. And not only the speaker, but the attorney general, the FBI director, and the president himself and the vice president, they're taking a big loss this week because after months of fighting, I am winning this week with Ro Khanna. We're forcing this vote, and it's going to happen. I would remind my Republican colleagues who are deciding how to vote, Donald Trump can protect you in red districts right now by giving you an endorsement, but in 2030, he's not going to be the president, and you will have voted to protect pedophiles if you don't vote to release these files, and the president can't protect you then. This vote, the record of this vote, will last longer than Donald Trump's presidency.
Yeah. Trump on Epstein, I was not with him. But no matter what we give, it's never enough, really. They haven't given anything. They gave the clownfluencer fake conservatives the binders that were empty with already publicly available information. So what have they given? Nothing. Propaganda, lies, diversion.
Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. With Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages. 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people that some of the people that we mentioned are.
Oh, we're going to get to that. The Franklin scandal. We're going to get to that. Oh, it's Republicans wouldn't do that. Damn well better believe they would. Here's Trump. He's all for releasing the Epstein files. Again, we're never getting the Epstein files. Okay, the actual who was being blackmailed and for what. We're never getting that because they're still using it today. The intelligence agencies to blackmail these same people as Epstein was.
Clarify something you posted on Truth Social last night. You urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman. You look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton. They went.
Yeah, when they were buddies, Trump was a Democrat. Trump's a New York liberal. Wake up, conservatives. Pull your head out of your rear end. Oh, but you love the propaganda. Here's propaganda out of the White House. America's power couple. Aren't they so cute here? I don't know what America's obsession. Maybe it's just echo chambers, fake propaganda campaigns, social engineering on the interwebs where people drool over this kind of bullshit. Well, it's America's power couple. Really? Bunch of damn crooks. Yeah, Melania's crypto token was awesome, right? Remember how they rugged? It's not even her. They're using her name and likeness, right? But remember they pumped that and rugged you? Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. Trump said House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax. Well, it's systemic in the system. We're never moving on from this. You see, we're never moving on because it's systemic corruption of the assholes running the powers that shouldn't be, right? And so it's we're never moving on from this. Here's Trump's post. It says, as I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect, from the great success of the Republican Party. They just lost all these elections. Remember, November 5th, they just lost across the board elections. Great successes there for the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. You just lost elections across the board. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on, quote, Epstein, are looking at various Democrat operatives. Bill Clinton, he's freaking president of America, 2 terms. I'd say he's a little bit above a Democrat operative, but whatever, dude. Reid Hoffman, we know he's garbage. Larry Summers, we know he's garbage. And their relationship to Epstein and the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. All I do care about is that Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, where we are winning big. It's just simply not true. Our victory on reducing inflation for the highest level, from the highest level in history, is practically nothing. Bringing down prices for the American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gaining trillions of dollars of investment into America, a record, the rebuilding of our military, securing our border, deporting criminal illegal aliens, ending men and women's sports, stopping transgender for everyone, and so much more. Nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive. And if the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide election victory. Some members of the Republican Party are being used, and we can't let that happen. Let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-setting achievements and not fall into the Epstein, quote, trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. Riddled with lies, delusions, and propaganda here. This post by President Trump. Notice how Democrats aren't talking about the indisputable fact that their own Stacey Plaskett, she's a representative out of the Virgin Islands of the America, was colluding in real time with Epstein during a committee hearing. It's on camera. What else did she know? What else did she know? I don't know. That's right out of the White House, their claim about this Stacey Plaskett. Here she is. Continuing here. Why, this is right out of the White House. They say, why aren't Democrats talking about the fact that, I guess she's a delegate. I don't know exactly how it works out of territories, U.S. Virgin Islands. Anyway, delegate, they say here at the White House, addressing her, Stacey Plaskett solicited and was given $30,000 from Epstein for the DCCC after he was already a convicted sex offender, or the fact that Plaskett herself accepted maxed out donations from Epstein for her own campaign, or the fact that the wife of the former Democrat governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands told Epstein we would have a friend in Stacey if he made said donations. And they go on pointing the finger at Democrats. We know it's all a Democrat hoax, right? Not so much here. The FBI redacted Trump's name in Epstein files, according to a report out of Bloomberg. And other Republicans. In 2025, so this year, the FBI FOIA team redacted Trump's name along with those of other high-profile individuals from Epstein investigation files during a review before potential release. It's a Democrat hoax. See right here, they blacked out my name. I'm not part of that. Redactions were applied under standard privacy exemptions as Trump and others were private citizens during the original Epstein probes. Well, that should take the veil of government cover off them. No, quote, client list or evidence of blackmail involving prominent figures, including Trump, was identified in the reviewed materials. The DOJ and FBI conducted in July 2025 concluded that no additional disclosures were appropriate, reversing earlier indications of a phased release. That's the binder that your clown influencers, government propagandists, we all remember that debacle. A hidden camera video from James O'Keefe Media Group captured a mid-level DOJ official alleging politically motivated redactions to protect Republicans and conceal Democrat involvement. The same official claimed Ghislaine Maxwell received preferential prison treatment to incentivize her silence. The DOJ disavowed the official statement as uninformed speculation based on public media reports with no bearing on actual processes. An unpublished 2014 Michael Wolff draft profiled Epstein sympathetically, raising questions about journalistic ethics in gaining access to controversial figures. We need to take a look at old Michael Wolff's hard drive, if you know what I'm saying. Trump's past social ties to Epstein are alleged in public reports, photos, contracts, but no new incriminating details emerged from the 2025 reviews because it's been redacted, it's been covered up. Trump's a Democrat back then. It all ties together. The controversy reflects broader tensions over transparency, partisan perceptions of bias in federal handling of Epstein materials, and the absence of substantive new revelations despite high public interest. It's never going away, man. As Trump attacks Marjorie Taylor Greene now. Let's watch this report out of the Cradle. A CNN interview with MTG here now. Once one of Trump's most ardent supporters has now been blacklisted by Trump, essentially, along with Massey and others, for even questioning anything. She's bad. She's antiseptic.
I do want to ask you about something you posted just yesterday on X. You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC. What are you trying to say there?
Well, I think it's a question that many Americans are asking. And we saw Jeffrey Epstein with ties to Ehud Barak. We saw him making business deals with them. Also business deals that involved the Israeli government and seems to have led into their intel agencies. And I think the right question is to ask is, was Jeffrey Epstein working for Israel?
I just want to be clear. Are you saying Israel is pushing the President of the United States to cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you have that that is the case?
I simply just asked out loud, is there a foreign government? It could be any foreign government, but is a foreign government pushing to keep this covered up? Because people just don't understand the big fight against.
Well, you had AIPAC up there. It was pretty clear which government you were talking about.
That I'm questioning that government in particular and questioning any other foreign government.
Clear antiseptic behavior out of MTG there. She shall be shunned and shamed. And as we've gone over on this broadcast with Johnny Vedmore, Epstein was working with the CIA and I do believe with Mossad and probably UK. All these intelligence agencies work together, you see, at some levels. And so I believe he was probably working with them all, probably working with all of Western intelligence. It's certainly what it looks like here now. You know, I had to, this report out of the wrap.com, and I saw this headline and I had to share it with you. The Epstein emails show that conspiracy theorists are right. No, you don't say. Eyes Wide Shut is real. It seems there is a code among people with power and money who are pals, no matter what side of the aisle, no matter the sins. Oh, yeah. Seems like, yeah. They're dark occultist, satanic child molesters is exactly who all of these people are. And so, of course, this is the famous film talking about Eyes Wide Shut. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it with Tom Cruise and Kidman. They're tied up in this Illuminati conspiracy. Yeah, pretty much just like Eyes Wide Shut. Everybody should go see that Stanley Kubrick film if you haven't already. And it pretty much lays it out there, how it goes. Epstein survivors released a video calling on Congress to release the Epstein files. Let's watch this. They should all be sanctioned, droned. They're antiseptic, obviously.
I suffered so much pain. So much pain.
So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old. I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
Yeah, 5 administrations. It's all the Democrats, though. Trump told us we can trust in Trump. Don't you worry about that. Fat Bob's on the chat here, and he did message me on the X. I'll mention this. I did not have time to watch this documentary, but I appreciate the sharing of the information. So I'll mention this documentary to you now so you can view it down the road here, where he said, let's show the post here. He says, Sam, I found this video which pursues the name Nadia Marchenko in direct contact with Epstein. And here's the documentary. Where is the missing Epstein girl? And so I'll probably take a look at that when I have some time. But the link will be in the description. Will be in the show links at Weaponized News Substack for more research on the matter. Thank you, Fat Bob, for that link. We'll be taking a closer look at that. More about it. Aaron Day, we've interviewed him several times, trying to get him back on the show. He's a very busy man here now, building out alternative systems to technocracy that we're going into here now. And he's exposed many things, but he's launched this new site. He's launched this new site as a reference, essentially a encyclopedia of technocracy and Epstein and all of this crazy stuff. Technocracyatlas.com for our researching as a big tool in our researching, uncovering all of this for the public. Technocracyatlas.com. He just launched this site. So here's a great research tool that we should all be using. I will be using this as we go forward. And here is the, of course, AI created video by Aaron Day, but it pretty much lays it out. Here's Epstein looking. And have you seen the comparison of Epstein to old Andrew Jackson? It is quite striking, at least on the $20 bill. What the hell's Andrew Jackson on? The 20? I can't even remember now. The 20, right? Anyway, take a look at this video.
They called me a financier. I called myself an architect of control. Every politician who took my plane, every tech mogul at my dinners, every scientist I funded, they all left with invisible chains. Democrats, Republicans, it didn't matter. Silicon Valley, Wall Street, Cambridge, Tel Aviv, my cameras were everywhere. You think I'm dead? My network isn't. The blackmail files, the client lists, the flight logs, they're just the surface. The real system runs deeper. Biotechnology, surveillance, digital currency, artificial intelligence, all controlled through compromise. Want to know how we really run your world? How one island became a control node for global technocracy? The files are here. The connections are mapped. See how the machine actually works. They called me a financier.
There you go. And Aaron Day has given us the tools there at Technocracy Atlas. Denver says Titus Frost has produced a 3.5-hour documentary on Epstein, came out 3 or 4 months ago. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I tried to get that guy on a while back and never got any replies back. I'll keep trying. Okay, it's all a Democrat hoax, right? It's always them. It's never our side. Trump's always been a hardcore far right-wing populist. No, it turns out he's always been a New York liberal. And idiot Americans, just like Albert Pike said, when we will provide the hero they need, to paraphrase them, right? And so we're seeing it all played out. We're being played like fools. If you can't see it now, I don't know what to tell you. Large majority of MAGA, better than, left-wing transgender furry lovers from outer space. It's the same freaking thing. The Franklin scandal now. From the great Peter Duke, the Duke Report summary of the book out of Nebraska, right? Boys Town. And that was a bunch of Republicans, Trump. Anyhow, here's the Franklin scandal explainer to give us more background to show you it's not just Epstein. This is beyond Epstein even, because it's long going and systemic.
Scandals in recent American history. And we're going to be guided by the incredible work of Nick Bryant. He's a journalist who has really dedicated his career to fighting for vulnerable kids. And he was the one who chased this terrifying story when all the major media outlets were just too scared to touch it. The result was his book, The Franklin Scandal. And believe me, it uncovers a chilling nexus of money, power, and truly horrific abuse. So, it all kicks off with a question that honestly sounds like something out of a movie. How on earth does a local credit union going bankrupt in Omaha, Nebraska back in the 80s somehow spiral into this massive scandal that pulls in the White House, whispers of the CIA, and a cover-up so huge it's almost hard to wrap your head around? Well, let's get into it. At the very center of this storm is one man, Lawrence E. King. And no, not the talk show host. This Larry King was a super charismatic and powerful guy in Omaha. He came from humble beginnings, son of a meatpacker, but he was incredibly ambitious. He was a talented singer, an Air Force vet, and he carefully crafted this image of himself as a successful Republican businessman, a real pillar of the community.
And King wasn't just some local big shot. We're talking about a guy who was singing for President Reagan at the Republican National Convention. He was throwing these unbelievably lavish parties for the Republican elite, rubbing elbows with cabinet secretaries. He had, for all intents and purposes, bought himself a seat at the table in the absolute highest circles of power.
So the obvious question is, where did all the money for this come from? Well, it turns out he looted nearly $40 million from the Franklin Credit Union, the very institution he was supposed to be running. And this wasn't just, bad accounting. It was a full-blown Ponzi scheme, all designed to fuel his rocket ship ride to the top. I mean, just look at these numbers. In a little over a year, his spending was just off the charts. Over $1 million on credit cards alone, hundreds of thousands on limos and flowers. He was living this absolutely insane life of luxury, all by treating the credit union like it was his own personal, never-ending ATM.
If this was just a story about financial fraud, it would be pretty shocking on its own. But as investigators started to pull back the curtain on all the financial crimes, they stumbled onto something so much darker. Something truly evil lurking just beneath the surface.
And this this is where the story takes a nosedive into an absolute nightmare. The quiet whispers about financial trouble suddenly turned into deafening screams of unimaginable abuse. Young victims, kids, started coming forward with stories that were so horrific they just didn't seem possible. The stories they told were just chillingly consistent. Victims, like a young woman named Eulise Washington, described this sophisticated, organized network. They said King was flying children on private jets to these parties in big cities, where they were abused by incredibly wealthy and powerful men. They even claimed that kids from the world-famous Boys Town orphanage were being systematically preyed upon. So you have to ask, how could a network like this even exist, let alone thrive? Well, the book makes a powerful case that it's because King's protection wasn't just local. That very web of powerful connections he'd spent so much money building in Washington, D.C. was acting as his shield, giving him the cover he needed to operate without fear. This timeline here really just paints the picture, doesn't it? From singing at the '84 convention to hosting parties where you'd find names like future Justice Clarence Thomas on the invite list, he was organizing huge galas with political heavyweights like Jack Kemp and even a former president. These weren't just casual friends. He was a serious player in their world. Now, as a few courageous people back in Nebraska started to actually investigate these horrifying allegations, the danger level shot through the roof. It turns out anyone who got too close to the truth, anyone who threatened to expose this network, well, they started ending up dead under very suspicious circumstances. The key figure we need to talk about here is Gary Cardori. He was the lead investigator for a state committee that was looking into both the Franklin collapse and these abuse allegations. And from everything we know, he was relentless, he was fearless, and he was getting dangerously close to blowing the lid off this entire conspiracy. And then, a truly chilling pattern starts to form. First, back in '86, a young guy named Charlie Rogers, who had financial ties to King, ends up dead. It's ruled a suicide, but he had just told his family he was afraid for his life. Then, a few years later, in 1990, Gary Caradori's private plane explodes in midair, killing him and his 8-year-old son. So, you've got the official story on one hand, and then you've got the facts on the other. And they just don't line up. Rogers' death is called a suicide, but there's no note, the door was unlocked. It's weird. Cardori's crash is called an accident, but the NTSB's own report couldn't say for sure, and we know for a fact that a state senator had warned him his life was in danger. These were Gary Caradori's last words to his boss, Senator Schmidt. We got them by the short hairs. He was convinced he had the evidence. He was right on the verge of breaking the whole thing open. And then he was silenced, permanently. After Caradori's death, something incredible happens. The entire narrative flips on its head. Suddenly, the official investigation wasn't about a powerful child abuse ring anymore. The focus shifted entirely onto the victims themselves, who were now being accused of making the whole thing up, of perpetrating a massive, malicious hoax. And this was the moment that changed everything. A key victim, Troy Boner, goes on national television on a CBS 48-hour special and takes it all back. He says everything was a lie, that the investigator, the late Gary Caradori, had coached him to make it all up for money. Just like that, overnight, the public perception of the scandal completely changed. The legal system then came down like a ton of bricks on the accusers. Another central victim, Alicia Owen, refused to back down, refused to recount her story, and she was just hammered with a whole slew of perjury charges. I mean, look at this. She was facing the possibility of spending decades, maybe even the rest of her life in prison, all for just sticking to her story. And that was the official end of it. A grand jury came out and declared the entire child abuse scandal a hoax. Larry King was never charged with a single thing related to child abuse. The victims, they were the ones who got indicted. The system completely cleared the powerful and condemned the powerless. But as Nick Bryant's book makes crystal clear, that official story was nowhere near the whole story. The hoax conclusion just left this trail of really disturbing, unanswered questions that point to a conspiracy of silence way bigger than anyone could have imagined. The book just leaves you wrestling with these huge questions. Like, why were thousands of documents in a related case in DC sealed by a judge? Was a major figure in that case actually a CIA asset running a blackmail ring for intelligence agencies? Why did the national media suddenly pivot from reporting on abuse to aggressively pushing this hoax story? And maybe the most disturbing question of all, Why does the book lay out evidence that the FBI itself might have actively sabotaged the investigation? And we'll end with this really powerful thought from the author himself. The Franklin scandal isn't just some story about terrible crimes that happened a long time ago. It's a cautionary tale about the nature of power. It's a warning that the very institutions we're taught to trust to protect us can sometimes be used to bury the truth and protect the guilty. What does it mean for all of us when fiction can be spun into fact and fact can be spun right back into fiction? That's the question that this story leaves us with.
Sorry, it's muted there. See, it's all the Democrats. That's what I'm saying, right? The documentary film about it that was suppressed that Discovery Channel did, Conspiracy of Silence. Let's go check that out for a deeper dive. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Just search Conspiracy of Silence. And so it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's all the same network as Epstein. And that's what they're doing, man. That is what they're doing. Okay, continuing here. Judge scolds Justice Department for profound investigative missteps in Comey case. We're getting justice, draining the swamp, getting the bad guys. Yeah. Now when you blow your investigation on purpose, AP reports Justice Department engaged in a disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps in the process of securing an indictment against former FBI Director James Comey. A federal judge ruled today in directing prosecutors to provide defense lawyers with all grand jury materials from the case. Those problems, wrote Magistrate Judge William Fitzpatrick, include fundamental missteps of the law by a prosecutor to the grand jury that indicted Comey in September. The use of potentially privileged communications during the investigation and unexplained irregularities in the transcript of the grand jury proceedings. The court recognizes that the relief sought the defense is rarely granted, Fitzpatrick wrote. However, the record points to a disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps that led an FBI agent and a prosecutor to potentially undermine the integrity of the grand jury proceedings. You don't say. They blew the case on purpose, man. Where'd those 450,000 illegal alien kids go? Well, they went into the meat grinder of this child trafficking network that we've been explaining here with about, 40 minutes of the show so far. ICE announcing a brand new operation to conduct welfare checks on the 450,000 children that the Biden administration placed with unvetted sponsors, some of who were sex traffickers, gang members, and abusers. What again? You got a giant network, government overseeing it, of nonprofits, NGOs, all these people. Where's the freaking prosecution of that? Government, ICE, FBI, DOJ, Trump? Nobody's in trouble. We're a year into the Trump administration. You guys have been saying this for more than a year. It's all the Democrats. Trump told us, where's the friggin' indictments? Oh, well, they'll just screw those up like with the Comey indictments on purpose, and the racket will continue. That's here now from ICE.
Announcing a brand new operation to conduct welfare checks on the 450,000 children that the Biden administration placed with unvetted sponsors, some of whom were sex traffickers, gang members, and abusers. The Trump administration has already located more than 24,400 children, and some of these stories are absolutely heartbreaking, like this one. A 1-year-old unaccompanied minor crossed the border during the Obama administration. That little girl is now 12 years old. During her 11 years in America, she lived with a series of relatives and endured horrifying abuse. According to Fox's Brooke Taylor, she was found in the custody of 2 sisters who have now been arrested. The 12-year-old was found, quote, with injuries all over her body, extreme malnutrition, and an infected gash on her head and zip ties around her wrist. Among those who abused this innocent child were her one-time sponsor, a distant uncle that she was placed with in 2024, despite being an illegal immigrant with a criminal conviction. That sponsor, that alleged abuser, was given temporary protected status by the Biden administration. Why? Here is video that Brooke Taylor obtained of the Trump administration arresting that man just yesterday. This is just one of the nearly 500,000 children that the Trump administration is seeking to protect. And this operation comes after the administration announced that Operation Dirtbag, conducted in partnership with the state of Florida, resulted in the arrest of 230 criminal illegal immigrants, including 150 sexual predators. Here was Deputy ICE Director Madison Sheehan announcing that development.
In just 10 days, we've been able to remove, in partnership with the state of Florida, over 230 of the worst heinous criminals from their streets. Our job as law enforcement is to protect the most vulnerable. Democrats will tell you that that is the criminal illegal aliens who they have let run free in our communities, but not this group of law enforcement. We know that it's the children that is our job to protect.
That's just cleaning up the competition. That's all this is, getting rid of the competition for the larger network. And as Denver said, they all know they will crash in a plane with their 5-year-old son if they go full on to undermine the human sex trafficking for blackmail. That's the conspiracy of silence, indeed. Indeed. And with that, let's take our live commercial break. The Weaponized News site is not working so well right now, so I won't direct you there, but you can still get your stickers directly from me, and I've been working on fixing it. I think it's some back-end server issue. Anyhow, if you want your, so we can't, I'm not trying to sell today through the website, so I'm working on fixing it, the store, but you still can get your Weaponized News stickers directly from me, the holograph sticker, the white background sticker, and the clear sticker here at Weaponized News. Well, email me today. Excuse me. Email me if you want one of these stickers, and I'll get it to you, Sam at Weaponized News, right there at the bottom of your screen. You can see, email me directly as I'm working on the back end of Weaponized News to get that shop all back up and running properly. For our patrons, let's I still want to see the white logo. Sorry, Chloe, I'm working on it here. I'm working on it. It's in my list of to-dos for sure. Now let's hear a word from our sponsor again. Give me the like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. Email me, Sam at weaponizednews.com for one of these stickers. And I'm working, again, diligently to get the store all back up and running for our wonderful patrons at weaponizednews.com. Now let's hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with the second half of the show for you. Here's Abba Enterprises.
Is your business stuck in the slow lane? Rev up success with Abba Enterprises. From razor-sharp accounting to seamless QuickBooks mastery, we've got your back. Consulting that sparks growth, payroll that's always on time, and taxes done with precision. Call 559-577-9250 now. Abba Enterprises, your business, turbocharged.
All right, that wasn't the right commercial, but you get the hint there. All your accounting needs. Again, you can email me, Sam at Weaponized News, or your purchase of our stickers there. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to all of the subscribers to the program. whether it be on locals, Substack. Again, go to Weaponized News Substack. The links to all this stuff will be there for your further researching capabilities. Appreciate it. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Monday, November 17th, 2025 edition. As we just used the first half of Weaponized News to go through what is the stain on America here now, and we'll never get out from underneath it and get the powers that shouldn't be out of power until this is all brought to light and we get justice, which sadly I don't think will ever happen. As was mentioned, they'll whack you if you're in any position of power to expose all this, and it's a giant ring. And sorry to tell you, Trump, it's Republicans too, and it's Democrats. It's your entire government. On to, and see, they always do these covers. Oh no, it's not Trump. He's taking care of the foster kids. Trump's taking care of the foster kids. Now a word from our first lady. Are they using this program to funnel foster children into this trafficking network? It wouldn't surprise me. Now a word from our first lady, Melania Trump. Oh, sorry about that.
This executive order, fostering the future for American children and families, gives me tremendous pride. It is both empathetic and strategic. It aims to establish a comprehensive network connecting federal departments and agencies, private sector's businesses, higher learning institutions, and charitable organizations. A special thank you to my husband for his enduring commitment to fostering the future. The President has prioritized America's foster care children. This small spark today will ignite a profound and lasting nationwide movement. Our united resolve will foster a thriving future filled with compassion and innovation. Together, we will illuminate the pathway for today's foster children to become tomorrow's builders. And tomorrow's builders will foster the future of America's legacy.
Doesn't her Eastern European accent just sell it? Where they're famous for getting these pretty Eastern European girls and putting them into this, trafficking networks, i.e. the Hollywood film Hostel. If you haven't seen that, take a look at that. It's all tied together here now, but she definitely sells it with her Eastern European accent. Some light news now. Geez, that was heavy stuff. I understand. It's horrific what these monsters are doing. It is truly horrific, your government. Now some lighter news. What the hell? Let's have some lighter news because that was heavy, heavy stuff. Out of the office of the First Lady, help us choose the names of this year's presidential turkeys. Vote for your favorite name pair from the options below, courtesy of North Carolina 4-H and FFA students. Sugar and spice, pumpkin and pie, gobble and waddle, acorn and squash. You can vote on those turkeys. Will they get the pardon from Trump? You can vote on the turkeys' names right there on X, Office of First Lady account. Now back to the serious news. We had to take a break because that stuff is so dark, so freaking disturbing. What are the levers of control behind these maniacs calling themselves our government? It's just pure evil. There's no other way to describe it. The White House, onto the economy now. I don't know how this is cool, looking like Freemasons, but here's the meme put out from the White House today. As Trump attends the McDonald's Economic Summit. Yeah, that would be classy, right? Put the golden arches on top of the White House. Wouldn't surprise me at this point. Nothing from these maniacs would surprise me. Here's Trump lying, essentially, pumping his economic propaganda and lies at the McDonald's Economic Summit here. What's it officially called? Let's call it. Here's Trump today, a few hours ago.
In terms of slashing, we slashed more than $1 trillion worth of regulations, burdens on the U.S. economy, in particular on businesses and people that employ people. Combining our regulatory and tax cuts, we've reduced the effective burden on franchisees by more than 37.
They saved trillions. Still looking for one freaking penny. They stopped issuing pennies at the U.S. Treasury. I can't even find a penny, but Trump claims that his administration has slashed $1 trillion worth of regulations and burdens on the U.S. economy. I still can't even find the penny that they stopped minting. The Biden administration started the affordability crisis. That's the new propaganda term they've been using these last few weeks here now. Affordability. And my administration is ending it, Trump says. Take a listen to this. It's all Biden. Trump didn't shut down the economy during Operation Warp Speed. That literally never happened. It's a Democrat hoax.
But Joe Biden's prices and his hikes cost a typical American family an estimated $33,000 and hit your workers and your customers and your small businesses. Very, very hard. The Biden administration started the affordability crisis.
Trump shut this economy down during Operation Warp Speed. Like, dude, the level of lying here is this next level. It's next level lying by Trump. Dude. And then Biden continued it. But, dude, remember the medical intervention? They shut down the freaking world, basically. Killed all these supply chains. Pumped a bunch of money into the economy, bailing out the, quote, elite. The Epsteiners. Remember all that? The greatest wealth transfer in history under the Trump administration? It's Biden. Come on, dude. More from Trump. Maybe this is a funny one. I don't know. I'm losing my sense of humor with this. It's not cute. It's not funny. It just makes me extremely angry here now. But here's a joke from Trump.
As you may have heard, I'm also one of your all-time most loyal customers. I really am. Well, others, I think that's good. I'm pretty sure that's good. While other politicians fly around on campaign planes stocked with expensive catering, on Trump Force One, prior to ascending to Air Force One, which is quite a nice plane also, we served only McDonald's almost every time. On occasion, we couldn't find one, which is pretty hard to believe. We'd go another route, but we really did. You fed us very well, and I even got Bobby Kennedy to eat a Big Mac.
You got Bobby Kennedy to eat a Big Mac, corrupting Bobby Kennedy. Trump corrupts everything he touches and everyone around him. Admitting it right there. It's all cute and funny. Eat your McDonald's yoga mats. Eat your McDonald's pink slime. There's been reports of human meat being found in McDonald's hamburgers. And it just goes on and on and on with the disgusting fast food restaurant, McDonald's. Hey, but we're in a golden age. The White House tells us no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. President Trump signed into law the largest tax cuts in American history. Well, how about end individual income taxation theft? We can't go there. The landmark legislation will raise America's take-home pay by as much as $13,300 and wage. How is the government not stealing from you, raising your wages? You know what I mean? It's just, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. So we didn't steal it from you. We call that a pay raise. F off, thieves. Again, just more Treasury Secretary. It's the Biden administration's fault for inflation, not the fact we shut down the friggin' economy, broke all the supply chains, and pumped in $8+ trillion in the greatest wealth transfer in history. And none of that happened. It's all Democrat hoaxes, apparently. White House says, thanks to Trump's deal making, it's just all propaganda. We never have seen anything from these alleged quadrillion-dollar deals all over the world. I still can't even find a penny they stopped freaking minting. The White House says, thanks to President Trump's deal making, we're making trade fair again and winning big. Coffee, tea, cocoa, spices, bananas, oranges, tomatoes, beef, fertilizers, and more are now exempt from reciprocal tariffs. America First policies delivering for American workers and families. Trump signs executive order to modify reciprocal tariffs on certain agricultural products. Eat your pesticide-laden GMOs. Mulhaul. Root out waste, fraud, and abuse. The Daily Wire sure are bootlickers. We already knew this, right? Don't be antiseptic. They're the Daily Wire. They literally lick the boots of the Trump administration. Where is the actual... They say rooting out fraud. Trump administration to make food stamp recipients reapply for benefits. And so we point the finger. There's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse in the welfare programs. But again, corporate welfare is off the friggin' charts. Good conservative Republicans don't talk about that. And then Peter Thiel's fund sold off entire NVIDIA stake last quarter, according to a report out of Bloomberg. What are they seeing coming? The AI bubble popping? Oh, here's the bootlicking headline. Oh, I'm sorry, this was the Daily Signal, not the Daily Wire. Excuse me. Talk about bootlicking from the Daily Signal. Trump will save hundreds of thousands from fentanyl crisis through brilliant leadership, Patel says. I don't know who Epstein is. I can't look at you straight. I'm using government resources for my honeypot girlfriend. Saving hundreds of thousands from the fentanyl crisis as Purdue Pharma and the Seckler family pay a fine. As we've covered here at Weaponized News. But hey, don't be a fisherman or even in the Caribbean Sea at this point. They're like, we'll whack you because we're saving lives in America. We don't prosecute anyone in the government, in public health, in private industry, in big pharma. They're all immune, but the damn Venezuelan fishermen, let me tell you, they're the narco traffickers we've been warning you about, and they must be terminated. For the 6th month in a row, the White House says 0 illegal aliens into the United States. 0, they claim here now, as no one. It's all the Biden administration's fault, but no one from that administration, Mayorkas, and many others are still working for the Trump administration in the government. No one gets in trouble, but it sure is fun to point that finger and do the whole left-right divide here. Classic divide and conquer, balkanization strategy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe America would wake up. Probably not. Here is Department of Homeland Security telling us our national motto is E pluribus unum. Notice how he even had it. I guess this is just, shall we say? This guy's giving out Illuminati gang signals. Nah, he's just has to do something with his hands. Sorry, we had a mute on that.
This is Micah Bach, Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. This week, it's important to dispel a lie that has permeated American political thought for some time. America is not a nation of immigrants. We are a nation of citizens, and it is because of those citizens that we are an exceptional nation. The first duty of our government is to defend its people's well-being, way of life, and to safeguard our country's heritage. At the same time, we must enact policies that ensure a prosperous future, not for lobbyists, foreign countries, or big business, but for the people. In the Trump administration, the U.S. citizen comes first, before anything or any.
What a joke. America 250, your corporate government. I can't take the propaganda. Acting head of FEMA, David Richardson, resigns. FEMA chief resigns after being called, quote, incompetent over hurricane readiness. Acting FEMA administrator David Richardson has resigned months after allegedly joking he didn't know hurricane season had begun. He was already under fire after an internal review said FEMA wasn't ready for the 2025 storms. Anti-ICE radicals are so desperate to demonize American law enforcement that they are creating AI videos to gin up hate. The Department of Homeland Security tells us, replying to a post from the New York Calm Post here. Let's see this. Videos on social media sites like Facebook show intense, dramatic scenes of federal agents detaining migrants, many of which are racking up hundreds of thousands of views each. The catch, they're all fake. Here's these fake videos of DHS rounding up the illegals. We can only wish and hope that they could get the 30 million illegals deported. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen 1 year into the Trump administration.
Ma'am, stop resisting. Keep moving.
You can't take me from her, please. She's right there. Don't do this. She's just a baby.
Get her in the vehicle.
Videos on social media sites like Facebook show intense dramatic scenes of federal agents detaining migrants, many of which are racking up hundreds of thousands of views each. The catch? They're fake and made by AI. The latest in the scary trend of videos created by artificial intelligence can be prominently seen on the Facebook account USA Journey 897. The account, which was flagged by independent researcher Chad Loader to 404 Media, a journalist-founded organization focusing on digital media, features dozens of AI-generated videos of the same theme. Many of the AI videos posted by the page show workers at prominent US chains like McDonald's or Walmart being ushered into vans by federal agents as they plead to see their kids. Others show mothers and fathers being emotionally ripped away from their weeping children as officers coldly instruct the parents to put their hands behind their back. The videos, which are garnering tens, even hundreds of thousands of views, do not bear an AI watermark, but all display the same superimposed text, reading deportation, along with emojis and a pair of American flags. While some of the videos note in their captions that they are created by AI for, quote, entertainment and creative purposes only, many do not, leaving viewers who don't know any better to discern their validity for themselves.
They're getting the clicks on those videos. Operation Charlotte's Web.
lot of support since the goal is protecting Americans. And Border Patrol agents are already making progress by arresting dozens and dozens of illegal immigrants over the weekend, all in several areas of Charlotte. And as you mentioned, DHS is now confirming they already have 130 illegal migrants in custody, but we do expect that number to go up a lot. CBP Commander Gregory Bavino says most of those arrested have a, quote, significant criminal and immigration history, and he says those crimes range from assaults, DUIs, larceny, to hit and runs. Here's Border Patrol Senior Advisor Ron Vitiello once again.
If you come across the border illegally, you're in the country illegally, and you're subject to arrest. And they are going after the worst of the worst, and the data proves it so far. People that have committed heinous crimes in that area have already been arrested.
But as you can see in this video, a lot of people who live in Charlotte and local officials are not happy about this operation. During Saturday's massive protest, many people said they know immigrants who are now scared to leave their homes, and they say this will be a, quote, uphill battle.
Border Patrol being here is really going to affect how we live on a day-to-day basis, you know, if we're going to be living in fear, constant fear that one day one of us might not come home.
In Harris, there was another smaller protest last night outside of the local DHS office. We do know that 2 people there were arrested. It's unclear.
Operation Charlotte's Web. Is there any more? Yeah, here's another report out of ZBS News.
Tonight, officials in Charlotte, North Carolina are urging calm amid the latest immigration crackdown. CBS's Chanel Call reports on the details of the Homeland Security's department, what they're calling Operation Charlotte's Web. Chanel.
And Jerica, Homeland Security officials say about 100 people were arrested on Saturday in Charlotte by Border Patrol and ICE.
Yeah, they're worrying about people on welfare and send $1 billion to aardvarks for genocide. Indeed, said in the comments there. To paraphrase, are they doing that to stop free speech? Well, yeah, to stop any kind of, to stop you exercising any of your rights. U.S. State Department to designate cartel Del Los Solis as a foreign terrorist organization headed up by Maduro. And so they're naming quite a few terrorist organizations. And then that gives them the go-ahead to whack them with drones, you see. Little Marco Rubio says the State Department intends to designate Cartel Del Los Solis as a foreign terrorist organization headed by the illegitimate Nicolas Maduro. The group has corrupted the institutions of government in Venezuela and is responsible for terrorist violence conducted by and with other designated FTOs, as well as for trafficking drugs in the United States and Europe. That's the CIA job, not the job of Maduro and those cartels, you see. Okay, on to our public health section. Hey, it's still going on, and we can expect some public health fear-mongering to be cranked up as the government is back operating again. Over the weekend, Bobby Kennedy Jr. posted this. Let's take a look. He says, today I spoke with America's tech leaders about how innovation is transforming access to health information. MAHA is helping people get and stay healthy by harnessing technology to deliver personalized real-time insights that empower better health decisions. As Trump is promoting McDonald's. And so, and in Whitney Webb, comment there, she says surveillance and biodata mining isn't health. Hope your fans are finally hip to the fraud. Well, what does she know about health? I think it is healthy to have a brain implant. You know what I mean? And then this came out too. Are we allowed to talk about this? Probably not. UK Telegraph, government withholding data that may link bat miracles to excess deaths. Oh, you don't say. It's only how old of news? You know what I mean? Milk without cows. Inside the science of lab-grown milk, shaking the dairy world. Sounds truly disgusting. Lab-grown milk. And where's it from? It's from our friends in Aardvark land. Starting early next year, Aardvark land will find a new kind of product on their supermarket shelves, one made without cows. Remilk, a food tech startup, announced it will begin selling its lab-produced milk made from dairy proteins through a partnership with GAD Dairies from next year, according to a report out of the Times of Aardvark land. The company claims its cow-free milk tastes exactly like the dairy one. From January, 2 variants, a 3% fat milk and a vanilla-flavored version, will be available under the label New Milk. Both are lactose-free, cholesterol-free, and made without antibiotics or hormones. A separate barista line meant for coffees and for cafes and restaurants will appear within days, the report said. Remilk's founders say prices will be similar to other milk alternatives like soy and almond milk. I'm still looking for the nipples, the udders on those almonds to milk them. I'll probably find them with my last penny minted. This doesn't seem very healthy. What is lab-grown milk? Lab-grown milk, sometimes called animal-free dairy, is real dairy produced without cows. That's what this report says. Well, then it's not real. It's all fake. Unlike almond, oat, or soy milk, which are plant-based substitutes, lab-grown milk contains actual milk proteins, casein and whey, identical to those found in cow's milk. There are two main production methods: mammary cell cultures. Cow mammary cells are grown in bioreactors that naturally produce milk. It's all natural, don't you worry. Precision fermentation. Scientists insert milk producing genes into microbes like yeast, which secrete milk proteins when fed sugar. These proteins are then blended with fats and carbohydrates to make milk. And so, yeah, the cows, methane is causing global warming, or maybe it's not. We just don't know, but what the hell? We trust Bill Gates, even though he's turned against that whole narrative. We're going with the old Bill Gates narrative too. And so drink your naturally lab-grown milk, Remilk. Hopefully we can see it here in America sooner than later. In the U.S., Brown Foods in Boston is developing Unmilk, a product made entirely from milk that's been grown in a laboratory to mimic all the important parts of cow's milk. And so we look forward to milk without cows coming to a grocery store near you. But aardvarks get it first, so aren't they lucky? And then Maha, Doritos, and Cheetos are getting undressed. PepsiCo, anything from PepsiCo you should steer clear of, as McDonald's. So here's their new package design. A new Simply NKD line removes all coloring while keeping the original flavors. What is that? Heck 296 or whatever the hell it is. Flavor enhancers. You better believe they're using aborted fetal cells in Pepsi products to get you hooked on them, man. To get you hooked on them. Human flavoring, indeed, there. But hey, they gave you a nice new package, and they're taking away the coloring. And so that's Maha. Here's an example of the coloring. And so do you want the fake color here? Like this, you see? On the left is with the artificial dyes. On the right, the new naked coloring. And then Cheetos. You should probably steer clear. And of course, all made with GMO corn, of course. And so that's always left out of the conversation. And then finally, lack of adequate health care pushing Canadians toward assisted suicide. We do appreciate the eugenics depopulation MAIDS program being pushed forward there out of Canada. And so in this report from LifeSite News, they talk about horrific public health conditions driving people to sign up for MAIDS, as is the intention. And they go through here. There were no lights. All the light bulbs in the hallway had been completely removed. So they're creating the environment where you're so damn depressed and you're like, I'm not getting any health care from the single payer socialist health care out of Canada anyway. I might as well do the MAIDS program and relieve that burden from my family. And they're creating an environment to incentivize said euthanasia in the public health there in Canada. Very good of them. All while saying how much they care about you. Okay, where are we at here? The U.S. Navy commissioned its newest ship, the USS Prairie, during a ceremony today in Panama City, Florida. Let's take a look. This is from the Department of War. Very nice newest ship. The new combat ship will be key to protecting our borders and those of partner nations against 21st century coastal threats. Isn't it wonderful in your Navy whites? Bringing that ship online today. This week in the Department of War, combating drug traffickers, growing partnership in Indo-Pacific, Navy Marines mark 250th anniversary. While the federal government was closed for all of October and the first week of November, service members kept working, and the defense of the nation never stopped. That's propaganda right from the Department of War. And now this revelation, let's take a listen to, and they lay out quite a bit in here, quite a bit. Undersecretary of War, Emil Michael. The national security challenges we face today demand that the Department of War innovate with uncompromising speed. Proven, tangible technologies must be placed into the hands of our warfighters so they never face a fair fight. That's why today he's announcing a new list of critical technology areas. Let's take a listen to this announcement where they announced that U.S. Department of War will be using direct energy weapons.
My name is Emil Michael, and I'm deeply honored to serve as the Chief Technology Officer of the War Department. It is my responsibility to ensure that our warfighters remain unmatched in their ability to defend freedom and secure peace across every domain of warfare against any adversary and under any conditions. As the head of the Office of Research and Engineering, I'm entrusted with driving the War Department's technological directives and investment strategies. Our mission is clear: to deliver cutting-edge capabilities that allow our forces to dominate the battlefield. When I stepped into this role, our office had identified 14 critical technology areas. While each of these areas holds value, Such a broad list dilutes focus and fails to highlight the most urgent needs of the warfighter. 14 priorities, in truth, means no priorities at all. That is why today, I'm announcing a decisive shift. We're narrowing this list to 6. These 6 critical technology areas represent the priorities that will deliver the greatest impact, the fastest results, and the most decisive advantage on the battlefield. These priorities will ensure that our warfighters never face a fair fight. This is a new, bold vision for the future of American military superiority. Applied artificial intelligence will position the department as an AI-first organization, in alignment with President Trump's AI action plan, transforming decision-making and overall operational efficiency. Biomanufacturing will harness living systems to enhance resilience and eliminate any potential supply chain vulnerabilities. Contested logistics technologies will ensure our forces can operate and resupply seamlessly, even in the most challenging and contested environments. Battlefield information dominance will enable warfighters to maneuver with precision, even in degraded or denied environments. Scaled directed energy will deliver cost-effective, high-energy solutions to neutralize any threats with unparalleled precision. And finally, scaled hypersonics will bring Mach 5 and beyond capabilities to the battlefield en masse, striking targets with unmatched speed, survivability, and lethality. These critical technology areas are actionable, tangible solutions to the challenges that our warfighters face today. They are driven by focused sprints designed to deliver results in the now, not in 15 years. They represent the War Department's unwavering commitment to innovation and operational dominance. I pledge to work tirelessly with our partners across the department, the private sector, and academia to transform these objectives into battlefield advantages. Together, we will continue to prove that the United States military remains the most lethal fighting force in the world. The future of warfare is already here, and the War Department is leading the charge. Let us move forward with urgency, with purpose, and with the steadfast belief that technological strength is the foundation of peace. Thank you, and may God bless our warfighters.
There you go. Technocracy is the foundation of peace. Department of War told us there. And they just casually admit, oh yeah, they're using direct energy weapons. Here are the critical technology areas right here. As mentioned, applied artificial intelligence, biomanufacturing. They're not making bioweapons, nothing to worry about there. Contested logistics technologies, quantum battlefield information dominance. It's not just literally your physical battlefield. The interwebs, where we're at, has been declared a battlefield. So scaled hypersonics, is this an answer to Russia's Orezhnik and other? It looks like it. It looks like this is the answer to Russia's hypersonic missiles. And scaled directed energy. There you go. Breaking through affordability and production barriers to deliver cost-effective, high-energy solutions capable of neutralizing threats with precision. Indeed. Indeed. And then here's a little here's a nice little model from Navy Times. You could put your direct energy weapon right on this armored vehicle. See right here. You can zap them. You can zap them. And so indeed, this technology has existed for a very long time. It's being rolled out to the public here now. Scaled direct energy stands out as a key priority aimed at developing cost-effective, high-energy systems to neutralize threats with exceptional precision and speed. This technology encompasses high-energy lasers and high-power microwaves. So, yeah, They will be zapping with direct energy weapons here now as part of the Department of War's 6 critical technology areas. I think we'll take a look at the other areas throughout this week, but that's your direct energy weapons right there, admitted by the Department of War. Scaled directed energy. And then this is from the Department of War. Here's a nice little graphic that they can zap you with a satellite, they're saying, and just zap a plane. Thanks for that graphic. You can just zap you. That's what they're claiming. U.S. Army test, and this is an old story. U.S. Army tests laser weapons aiming at a future of energy-based air defense. This is from June, from the Army. Do they have laser weapons? Do they have direct energy weapons? You better damn well believe they do, because they're announcing it right now, and they have in the past, but now a formal announcement, as we just saw. So you better damn well believe they have these exotic high-tech weapons. Here's Department of War. Pete Hegseth, he visited DARPA and posted a little video about it. So this should make us feel very secure. Department of War and at DARPA.
With 107.
Sure. All right. Absolutely. Hit it on a check mark. It's going to replan. I got to give it a second for us to change. There's your 107. There we go.
So now you're piloting the aircraft, and this is like as hard as it is.
It understands rules of airspace. Had 1 pilot, 0 pilots. Right now, we really are pretending to be a logistician. Sure, if you and I were sitting in the back, I would hand you a tablet, we'd go flying for an hour, operating from the back.
I'll turn it over to you. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, sorry, at the very beginning of that video muted. They were just exchanging pleasantries. But there it is, Secretary of War Hegseth at DARPA, remotely flying a Black Hawk helicopter. They're not just whacking everybody. They're helping. You see, the Department of War posted this from the Coast Guard. They say Station Cortez rescued 8 boaters after their 26-foot vessel became disabled 35 miles west of Venice, Florida. All passengers were safely returned to Venice Inlet boat ramp with no injuries reported. Oh, should have droned them probably, but there you go. See, they're not just whacking everybody. They're helping your U.S. Coast Guard. The EU's new censorship machine, the, quote, democracy shield, will police speech and suppress dissent under the pretext of defending democracy. Obviously, all tyranny is justified in defense of democracy, the majority of people say. The EU new censorship machine, the democracy shield. The European Union is launching the European Democracy Shield to regulate speech and combat disinformation. Ursula von der Leyen claims this initiative protects democracy and civil society, but critics argue it limits freedom under the guise of battling so-called misinformation. The Shield promotes a monitoring center to address false content and disinformation. Furthermore, a network of fact checkers funded by the EU will verify information. Critics suggest this system will stifle dissent and only perpetuate the EU's own narratives. The initiative signifies a concerning trend toward authoritarianism within the EU. You don't say. Raising questions about who determines, quote, truth amid increasing propaganda. And so, yeah, the conspiracy theorists are right again. You know what I mean? But it will be labeled as false content and disinformation there in the EU, all in the name of protecting democracy. As we say, you're a tyrannical maniac. Disinformation, you're banned. And you may get you probably will get a visit from the speech police there. Let's see. More virtue here now. Virtue from maniac Palantir CEO Alex Karp, Mr. Technocracy. But hey, he's virtuous because let's take a listen to this clip. But he says he was pressured to build systems for mass religious and political discrimination in the United States. He says, I was asked to build Muslim registry. He claims he refused and pulled products from places where such discrimination was the goal. And so we could trust Alex Karp to do the right thing and be virtuous by the people, right? Obviously. Don't drone me, bro.
I mean, this is like, there's all these things that no one believes are true. I was the first, and I may be one of the few CEOs to say we would not build a Muslim database. Now, everyone thinks I'm like, and I am, you know, I've defended Israel. I think like people who wake up in the morning thinking about how Jews are running the world. Actually, you believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not so concerned about people who are skeptical about Jews or even they're anti-Semitic, but like people who wake up in the morning, in the evening and night thinking about this. I think like, you know, Jewish derangement syndrome is a little bit of a carcinogen. So I think I'm the last person in the world people kind of expect in the kind of rude and crude way people think of this to refuse revenue to build, you know, a Muslim database. And I would say more like at a high level, because I can't go into the details, people internally know I pulled things from places where I thought there was anything like that going on in the US. Discrimination, yes, I'm against that. By the way, even if I was in favor of it, our products make that nearly as impossible as anyone's ever seen in a product. Because the way you do these things, the way you discriminate against people politically or based on their gender or race, is you do not have what are called ACLs. So you can't see where the data is flowing. What you can immediately see, not as a technical person, but as you, your cameraman, everyone watching this, can go look and see how is the data merged, what kind of pipelines did you create, what were the assumptions that went into it, where did the data flow?
So there you go. Virtuous Alex Karp, Palantir CEO, building a technocracy, scientific dictatorship. But hey, he's not building databases of Muslims, so seems like a good guy to me. Here's Edward Snowden. They claim it's just data. In reality, they're selling our future. Let's hear this clip from old Snowden, exiled in Russia.
What they call the social credit system. If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, right now. Our devices are casting all of these records that we do not see being created, that in aggregate seem very innocent. You were at Starbucks at this time. You went to the hospital afterwards. You spent a long time at the hospital. After you left the hospital, you made a phone call. You made a phone call to your mother. You talked to her until the middle of the night. The hospital was an oncology clinic. Even if you can't see the content of these communications, the activity records, what the government calls metadata, which they argue they do not need a warrant to collect, tells the whole story. And these activity records are being created and shared and collected and intercepted constantly by companies and governments. And ultimately it means as they sell these, as they trade these, as they make their businesses on the backs of these records, what they are selling is not information. What they are selling is us. They're selling our future. They're selling our past. They are selling our history, our identity, and ultimately they are stealing our power and making our stories work for them.
I don't know, Snowden. Old Alex Karp seemed pretty virtuous. Okay, continuing here. Zelensky inks fighter plane deal with France amid a $100 million corruption scandal. And Zelensky's like, there's corruption in my government? We must get to the bottom of it. Here's a clip from Zelensky. It's just beyond the pale of ridiculousness.
Ukraine will receive 100 Rafale fighter jets, as well as French radars, anti-air defense systems. These are technical details, but they are very important for us. Every battery means that many lives are saved.
It's always about saving the lives, right? Stop shooting each other. Again, Russia, Ukraine, they're bombing the hell out of each other's energy infrastructure. We're still waiting for that ceasefire. Well, we know Russia stated explicitly what they want to stop pulling the trigger there, but we still can't figure it out. U.S. Western states reject Russia-backed UN resolution condemning Nazism. The U.S. has supported neo-Nazi groups in Ukraine established by Ukrainian aardvark billionaire Igor Kolomoisky, the Azov Battalion, the most famous. The UN General Assembly adopted a resolution on last Friday, November 14th, condemning the glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism, and related practices promoting racism and intolerance. The Russian-backed resolution received 114 votes in favor, 52 against, and 12 did not vote. Abstentions. It calls for supporting global efforts to combat Nazi ideology, including opposition to monuments for Waffen SS members and denial of Nazi war crimes. Western nations such as the United States, European Union members, Ukraine and Canada, and Australia voted against the resolution. We did not see that coming out of Operation Paperclip run government here in America. So, yeah, of course you would not, vote for the denazification of the world. Colombia is on Trump's hit list.
Colombia has cocaine factories where they make cocaine. Would I knock out those factories? I would be proud to do it personally. I didn't say I'm doing it, but I would be proud to do it because we're going to save millions of lives by doing it.
What? I'm going to say millions of lives by another illegal form of aggression. Here is Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro. He calls out Epstein clan of pedophiles threatening Venezuela. A clan of pedophiles wants to end democracy in Colombia, and so that the Epstein list doesn't come out, they send U.S. warships to kill fishermen from the city and threaten the neighborhood, he said there. And we do a video, but in the interest of time, we're not going to play it. That's essentially what he said there. Ecuador voters overwhelmingly reject foreign military bases And so they're antiseptic, narco, drug trafficking, evil people in Ecuador, obviously. Ecuadorian voters rejected a government-backed proposal to allow foreign military bases, with early results showing nearly 2/3 voting no, as 90% of the ballots have been counted. Well, they're all a bunch of damn narco-terrorists, call me, Hamas supporters. They're in Ecuador, obviously. As it was being floated, U.S. military base there in Ecuador. Trump says, we'll talk to Maduro, won't rule out troops in Venezuela. We do have an English translation, I believe. Here's Venezuelan President Maduro. The U.S. wants to rule the world, but ignores its own millions without housing, food, education, or battling addiction. Again, Maduro ain't no good guy either, but it's making some good points here.
It's improved.
Aquí sí gobernamos para los humildes.
We continue
En Estados
constructing
Unidos pretenden gobernar al mundo. Pero nadie atiende a los 40 millones de estadounidenses que no tienen vivienda.
Yeah, that's a bad translation. Let me just read. I hate when they do the voice. It's just like, it's bad. Let me just read the rest of it. He says they want to, quote, save others with weapons. First, save yourselves. We know what to do with Venezuela. No, you don't, because America's going to tell you what to do with Venezuela. He also went on to say, some want to hand this country over to the demons. You know who? The ultra-right Zionist faction. He ain't wrong there. U.S. military conducts 21st strike on alleged drug smuggling boat, killing 3. This over the weekend. The Pentagon has revealed it had carried out its 21st confirmed strike on what it described as a drug trafficking vessel, according to a statement from Southcom. They're whacking the hell out of them. What are they at? We're at. The operation raises the number of people extrajudicially killed in U.S. military strikes on boats, using a wide range of military tactics from drone strikes to fighter jets and gunships. 83 dead. Extrajudicially again. You need rule of law, due process to be just. And they're simply bypassing it here now. And again, the warning is, and the moral of this story is, the government can point the finger at you anytime and say you're the narco trafficker, Hamas, whatever the hell they want to say. You're the bad guy, and whack you the same damn way. If you don't stand up and say this is wrong, nobody's going to stand up and say it's wrong when they whack you. India inks major energy deal with U.S. to reduce reliance on Russian crude oil. Trump boycotts South Africa G20 summit. Trump claims Afrikaners, farmers, face abuses and calls the Johannesburg summit a, quote, disgrace. He argues South Africa's G20 agenda and foreign policy run against U.S. interests. The boycott also positions him for the 2026 U.S. hosted G20. Gaza resolution passed by UN Security Council. Resolution gives a green light to Trump's reconstruction plan. China and Russia abstained from the vote. Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize because there's peace in West Asia, in the Middle East, and Gaza. The genocide's over. Well, turns out they're stacking bodies all this weekend. And since dawn today, Aardvark Land has killed 3 Palestinians in Gaza. This brings the number of those killed since the, quote, ceasefire on October 11th to at least 263 and many others injured. That's your Aardvark ceasefire. The Gaza Health Ministry reports that over the past 72 hours, that's over our weekend, Here now, 17 bodies have been brought to hospitals, including 2 people killed recently and 15 recovered from under the rubble, along with 3 other wounded individuals. It's a ceasefire, bro. Ben Shapiro, Barry Weiss, Dan Sinor, and others met this weekend at the Aardvark Leadership Conference and issued instructions to J.D. Vance that he must repudiate Tucker Carlson. Let's watch this short clip.
Ben Shapiro devoted an entire show to explaining why, in video clip after video clip, Tucker Carlson is, in Ben's words, if I can quote you to yourself, the most virulent super spreader of vile ideas in America.
I think that's actually Ben Shapiro. So again, projection, right? He's actually talking about himself. And this character, piece of trash, Mark Levin, says Hamas filmed themselves with GoPros committing mass rapes and gang rapes on October 7th, but we can't show you those videos as proof. Well, he's on the Fox News War Channel, so we should trust him, right? Yeah. He laments the Holocaust, October 7th denial, then denies the Gaza genocide as just a collection of fake photos and other things. And so there's no end to these traitors to America, these ultra-Zionists in the, quote, conservative media, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, all these traitors, aardvark supremacists. This character, the gambling promoting guy, Dave Portnoy, we reported on, that guy said F the aardvarks and threw coins at him on the street. And now he's going all over the media crying about we need to get rid of hate speech on the interwebs. Germany resumes supplying weapons to aardvark land, and many said they did not see this coming. Germany to resume arms exports to aardvark land in a case-by-case basis. New York mayor still, until he's till the transition occurs, right? When is that? The beginning of next year, when Magdani, the old alleged Muslim commie, takes over running New York. Mayor Adams went to aardvark land. As we reported on Friday, he says there is a full frontal attack on aardvark people, and hate is alive and well, and social media is contributing to it, as well as many people who want to pretend as though it doesn't exist. If I were an aardvark New Yorker with children, I would be concerned right now. Huh. Funny how, well, not so funny. Here he is at what they all have to do at the Wailing Wall. They're in aardvark land.
Male team here in Israel, and as I finish, I wanted to come back here to Israel and let you know that I serve you as the mayor, but I want to continue to have the title that's more important to me than anything. I'm your brother. Thank you.
There you go. So he sold out to the Shabbat Colt as well. You can see right there, admitting it. Ben Shapiro and Levin. Yeah, who actually likes Ben Shapiro? Literally no one, but it's force-fed, to conservatives in this country. Ma'am Danny says Netanyahu is not welcome in New York. He says we will uphold the warrants from the International Criminal Court, whether they're for Netanyahu or Putin. I think that that's critically important to showcase our values. And unlike Trump, I'm someone who looks to exist within the confines of the laws that we have. So I will look to exhaust every legal possibility not to create my own laws to do so. We'll see. Netanyahu says he's not afraid to go to New York. And they're saying, and Adams was saying, there's not one New York Police Department that would enforce this. We'll see. I don't think Netanyahu will go to New York, actually. Aardvark Land President Herzog held up a copy. Well, let's play this clip. It's pretty damn outrageous. This was an older clip, but it still holds true because it illustrates the propaganda and narrative and ideology that they're using to justify ethnic cleansing, genocide, and the like.
I want to show you something exclusive, Laura. So this is Adolf Hitler's book, translated to Arabic, Mein Kampf. It's the book that led to the Holocaust and the book that led to World War II. This is the book that led to his victory in elections in Germany, which led to the worst atrocity of humankind, which the British fought against. Well, this book was found just a few days ago in northern Gaza in a children's living room, which was turned into a military operation base of Hamas, on the body of one of the terrorists and murderers of Hamas, and he wrote notes.
Yep, so it was Mein Kampf that started it all. Don't look up Professor Anthony Sutton's Wall Street and Hitler. Don't look up any of that. It had nothing to do with Wall Street bankers, with UK intelligence. It's all because Hitler wrote the book My Struggle. Netanyahu's testimony on Wednesday, he's still facing corruption trial in Aardvark land. Our shadow president, Bibi, wanted on International Criminal Court warrant around the world for crimes against humanity, war crimes, and genocide. Turns out he's not getting that pardon yet that Trump had requested last week. He won't testify on Wednesday because there's a security matter. So imagine that you're on trial for corruption and you can just make an excuse. There's a security threat. We can't, how long has he been dodging? We've been reporting on this. The never-ending shimmy shake of Netanyahu to not face justice in Aardvark land for his own corruption. He won't even go to the trial. There's always an excuse. Don't be antiseptic. I don't know what is causing all this on the interwebs. I don't know, the postings of the IDF in large part used to come up with the indictments for Netanyahu, Gallant, and others in the Aardvark administration. Here's an IDF soldier films himself unabashedly bragging about Aardvark land attacks that have turned Gaza schools into rubble. And there's a million of these reports cited by the ICC as evidence of war crimes. Here's another one.
לכל מי ששאל למה אין לימודים בעזה, אופס, נפל לנו טיל עליכם, איזה בסיור, חבל.
So there you go. Those that seek education in Gaza, oops, they leveled your school. South Africa admits 130 Palestinians after initial entry denial, probes irregular travel arrangements. South Africa has allowed 130 Palestinians without travel documents to enter the country after initially denying them entry. According to border officials, 153 Palestinians arrived at Johannesburg Airport on last Thursday on a chartered Global Airways flight from Kenya without departure stamps, return tickets, or accommodation details. None had applied for asylum, promoting the initial refusal of entry. Authorities approved entry for 130 of the travelers under a standard 90-day visa waiver, while 23 others had already moved on to further destinations. The Palestinians had no idea where they were sent off to. Only when in Kenya did they realize they were coming to South Africa. Some had visas for Canada, Australia, and Malaysia. They were eventually permitted to leave for those countries. And so there's a weird thing about trying to traffic some of these Palestinian refugees now going on over there. That will follow as it develops. And our favorite provocateur here, always trying to start the apocalypse, the end times, Ben Gvir, Aardvark Land National Security Minister, he calls for the arrest of Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. Today, I appeal to our dear Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, you must declare that there is no immunity for Abu Mazen if they extradite the recognition of this fabricated state. And if the United Nations recognizes it, then you, Mr. Prime Minister, must order the assassination of senior Palestinian Authority officials who are terrorists. He's calling for their assassination. They're the terrorists, not Ben Gvir, Mr. End Times Third Temple builder. And I want to cause a giant holy war in West Asia. Not him, you see. Highlights from today's speech from the Secretary General of Hezbollah. And so they're bombing the hell out of Lebanon continually. He says, Aardvark Land assassinates journalists, as we've covered here, over 250, because they have left an important impact in revealing the truth of the battle and confronting the media of tyrants and oppressors. We do not accept that a single inch of Lebanon be taken. Well, got news for you, Hezbollah. Dude, Greater Aardvark Land Project. Harvard's, quote, doomsday vault preserves aardvark culture in case aardvark land ceases to exist. Why would they get that idea? I don't know, the Samson option? Because aardvark land has said if they're overrun or feel like they're going to lose, they'll just blow the whole damn all West Asia off the friggin' map. Netanyahu rejects Palestinian statehood again. We know he's never going to accept it because that goes directly against Greater Aardvark Land Project. And we simply cannot have that. On the eve of UN Security Council vote on U.S. drafted resolution that leaves open a credible pathway to Palestinian statehood, Aardvark Prime Minister Bibi vowed to oppose any attempt to create a Palestinian state. See, he wants peace there. Yeah, heavy artillery shelling into Khan Younis in Gaza. Reported earlier today. That's your ceasefire. At least 4 explosions in southern Lebanon. They're bombing the hell out of southern Lebanon, man. A lot more than 4, but that's just this one report earlier today. Aardvark Land showcases war tactics at global militaries, to global militaries despite ongoing war crimes. Aardvark Land has launched an international seminar highlighting its multi-front military operations over the past 2 years, inviting senior officers from over 20 countries, including military officers from the United States, Canada, the UK, Germany, Finland, India, Greece, Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Austria, Estonia, Japan, Morocco, Romania, Serbia, and Slovakia. The event presents Aardvark Land's recent military tactics in the region as a model despite widespread and ongoing atrocities committed in Gaza, Lebanon, Yemen, and Iran that have resulted in countless killed and or maimed. According to Aardvark Land public broadcaster Khan, Aardvark Land military officials described the seminar as an effort to strengthen cooperation and share so-called operational knowledge, offering lectures and field tours in the Gaza Strip. Come see how we do genocide over here. Isn't it wonderful? You see, and you too can use this same technology and tactics to go ahead and genocide your own populations. I'm sure all of those countries aforementioned find this very valuable. And the West Bank, Aardvark Land accelerating plan to further isolate occupied West Bank enclaves to continue settlement expansion. According to a report out of Safa News, Aardvark Land is accelerating its plans in the occupied West Bank through land annexation, settlement expansions, and the creation of enclave projects, with the goal of making the occupied West Bank an inseparable part of its control. It's Judea and Samaria, as these ultra-Zionist religious fanatics have told us. There is no West Bank, and it's all Aardvark land, according to their fake Bible. Aardvark land settlers set fire to Palestinian vehicles in the village of Al-Jaba, southwest of occupied Bethlehem, earlier today. And so the ceasefire means they keep on, keep on going with stacking bodies and seizing land, as we just covered there. And with that, we're going to wrap up this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you, everybody, for hanging with us, going longer than the usual 2 hours. We had a lot to cover today. Again, give me that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. Support independent reporting and analysis brought to you here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern, at Weaponized News. We appreciate the support. Let's go to the channels now. Over to the Odysee. We have John over there. John, always insightful, some great comments, and as well. He says, is this the same Massey whose wife died? Yeah, it's the same Massey. Yes, Massey's wife, yeah. And Trump was making fun of him, essentially. Very disrespectful to his dead wife. Shaming him for finding a new wife. What happened to the part about the male prostitutes getting an after midnight tour of vice presidential quarters? They were paid with credit card, and the processing machine belonged to a local mortuary. The mortician ran a side gig using underage males for all the closeted facts in DC. There's a report. We'll cover it tomorrow. I won't forget that, because this Epstein thing ain't going away, and that is part of it, where they had underage. There's more. There's HW was vice president at the time. I remember all that. Musk is a welfare queen, indeed. The Cartel of the Sun was a CIA group that was short-lived. If it is coming from aardvarks, it is meant to kill or sterilize the goyim. Oh, so you're not hip to the new milk? Yep, HK293, human embryonic kidney cells from aborted male Caucasian baby. That's your flavor enhancers in PepsiCo products. We all got a taste of the Department of War biological weapons program. Our very own military worked. Yeah. They worked to fulfill Trump's Operation Warp Speed, indeed, as was exposed at at a live press conference with Pompeo and Trump, where he says this exercise is going live. We played the clip, and Trump's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yep, it's going live. Live military exercise, i.e., Operation Warp Speed." Indeed. I think Gaza is a beta test for what the aardvarks have planned for white America. Listen to the rabbis, whatever you prefer. They want to terminate us all. Indeed, John. Indeed. And they're not even shy about it. That's your aardvark supremacy. Don't be antiseptic, though, because Alex Karp of Palantir doesn't discriminate. He's a very virtuous guy. Thank you for tuning in on the Odysee. Thank you for that lively chat and your comments there, John. Very informative and right on point as usual. Much appreciated. Over to the Bitchute. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the Bitchute. Appreciate it. The YouTube. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube, keeping that chat going. And thank you for tuning in on X, Kick, Facebook, Twitch, and Rumble, of course, as always. And with that, everybody do your own research. I provided quite a bit of information. Everything will be linked at Weaponized News Substack for your further research capabilities, or you can just simply search up what I said here. A lot of information on today's show, a lot of research to do. Tell your friends, family, and acquaintances to tune in to Weaponized News. Again, here live on the interwebs, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. And with that, as always, did I already say it? I can't even remember. Do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. We'll be back here